Emmanuel Dongala is an African author and chemist who was born on July 14, 1941. He was born in Brazzaville, Congo, which was then under Belgian colonialism. His parents were a Congolese father and a Central African mother. He lived there until he left the Congo and moved to the United States to study in the 60s. In America he earned an AB in chemistry at Oberlin College and an MA from Rutgers. While in America he avoided conflict that was going on due to the civil rights movement, and he focused on studying instead as he wanted to avoid violence and was there only to learn. He then left for France where he studied further and received a PhD in organic chemistry. After he was done studying he returned to the Congo where he taught chemistry at Brazzaville College and also worked there as a dean. It is then that he started to show interest in writing, and started out. He wrote a collection of short stories called Jazz and Palm Wine. However, the Marxist government banned it because it went against Marxist ideas and satirized those in power. This same government had a major effect in his life, his influence and of course his writing, such as when he satirized it in his short story collection. Being born and growing up in a colony in Africa was one major thing that would inspire and influence his writing, as this was his reality growing up. In 1998 he was forced to leave the Congo due to civil war that broke out as the government crumbled, as other Marxist nations had at the beginning of the decade, and civil unrest thrived. He wrote many works both before and after leaving the Congo, and even won the prestigious Fonlin Nicholas Award for his excellent literature in 2003. He is currently living in the United States and is teaching at Bard College, where he has the Richard B. Fisher Chair in Natural Sciences. Two of his most famous and well-known novels, which also demonstrate the impact his life had on his writing, are Johnny Mad Dog, and Fire of Origins. Fire of Origins, published in 2001, takes place in a fictional village in Africa called Lubatuku, where a man called Mankunku is born mysteriously. He is considered to be only part human and without a beginning or an end. He is condemned to wander and live in mistrust of everyone. He eventually becomes good at hunting and skillful at being a blacksmith, and even is a good sculptor and a healer. He is said to be a destroyer by the village's sorcerer, who is also his uncle. He has the power to destroy and challenge authorities that abuse those under their power. When the white colonialists come into Africa, and start mistreating animals and exploiting Africans, he is triggered, and in response finds work, but also challenges the oppressing white colonialists. When a communist revolution succeeds, his actions are seen as okay and a normal reaction to oppression. He then marries a woman from the city and has an albino, or monster, as a son. When he grows old he returns to his birthplace to see what his people have lost. This novel shows how deeply Emmanuel Dongala's work is affected by his life living in a time when Africa was colonized, and how he contributes in literature to show how these events affected people. Johnny Mad Dog is another novel he wrote, published in 2002, is about two different teenagers whose lives are turned upside down when ethnic tensions and violence reach their Congolese city and rival militias take over. The militias fight and terrorize the city, turning it into a hell filled with violent killings and crime. One of the teenagers is a 16-year-old girl called Lekalai. She wants to be an engineer and wants education. She is forced to run away with her little brother and mother who has no legs. She can only hope for her future, and keeping her family alive is a struggle. The other teenager is a boy called Johnny, who is part of the Death Dealers militia and goes around killing and looting as well as raping. He patrols around, adding to the destruction, trying to prove himself to be a man. This is another example of the influence of Dongala's life on his writing, as he was forced to leave his country because of the violence and civil war that went on in the end of the 90s. He shows how devastating war can be to a nation full of innocent people, and how deceiving it can be. Emmanuel Dongala contributes to literature by showing us the value of other humans, as in these two novels where one can witness human lives torn apart by the hate and wickedness of war and oppression. Emmanuel Dongala is known today as an iconic African writer who has written many works and teaches us the importance and value of others, and is currently teaching at Bard College.